Chris, James is pointing at you that the mics are on and you're supposed to go.
What? What? Oh. Sorry. I was paying attention to Snapchat. Oh. All right. Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 4, Episode 49, where we watch Into the Wilderness, Season 1, Episode 1. I'm Chris Lorenz, and...
I'm Harris Hoffman.
Alaska Beth.
This is Robert Kentz.
Noah in the Wilderness singer.
This is just regular James.
And we have a special guest today.
And this is BJ.
Sorry. Stomping on you already.
Bad start.
So this was a show. Harrison, give me the show description.
First off, I just want to issue a very small correction. You said that the name of the show is Into the Wilderness. It's just called Win the Wilderness.
Oh,
anyway, Win the Wilderness. 6 couples compete to prove they've got the survival skills to win the deed to an extraordinary home deep in the vast, rugged wilderness of Alaska. That's Win the Wilderness on Netflix.
Yeah, so the show's on Netflix, so it's pretty easy to watch for people out there. James, give me your description of this show. I'm very curious.
This show is a bunch of people going out to Alaska. It's really focused on one dude. And, this dude and this lady making a life out in Alaska. They're getting old. They got to give their house to somebody. Now there's a competition reality show. It's an odd turn of events for them. I don't think they ever expected that to happen. But as you might suspect, in the interior of Alaska, real estate, it's really probably hard to sell because there's not a ton of options. These people are 100 miles from the nearest road in the middle of Alaska. That's the show.
Are you sure? I mean, that's more minutia, but I feel like the real estate market in the middle of Alaska can't be that.
It's got to be tough. Like, you can't just put a for sale sign on this house. Like, nobody's ever going to see it. There's no neighbors. They legitimately live in the middle of nowhere of Alaska.
It's a niche market because that house looks pretty nice.
That house is
but
very
you got to
impressive.
have the right person who's committed to living a certain lifestyle in a certain region.
Oh yeah, this is where the competition reality show comes in.
How many houses are there where there's an airstrip for you to actually like land and be ready to go Alaska ready? Because you need an airstrip to live.
Chris, you're asking a lot of questions that are clearly answered in a lot of Alaskan shows on Nat Geo, Disney Plus, and all of the others.
Is Nat Geo sponsoring the podcast tonight, James?
Oh, I don't know, but if they are, that'd be wonderful. Send me some more Nat Geo content.
All right, let's step back. So this episode, essentially, 6 couples come to Alaska to compete for this house, and they get introduced. They do a challenge where they build tents for their shelter one night while it's raining. It's pretty miserable. Then the winner of the challenge gets to go meet this couple, Dwayne and Rena Osei. And they go, the next day happens, they go meet them. The rest of the couples do this other challenge where half the couple gets in the water, and then they have to go make a fire in like an quote unquote emergency situation. And we don't really see the end of that or know anything about if you win that challenge or not. Unclear. And then the couple comes back, or Dwayne and Rena get to decide if you get to stay on the show. And if you get to stay, you go back, and then that was the end of the episode.
Dude, they clearly showed the resolution of that competition. What are you talking about?
What was the end of the competition?
Of the one where they had to submerge themselves in 48-degree Alaskan lake water.
Yeah, I mean, it ended, but there was no like winner.
Yeah, no, there was. So
who was the winner?
Well, I'll get there. Just hold on. Minutia, Chris. There's a lot of minutia to unpack to get through this. So you fall in this water. Okay, you're cold. It's Alaska. It's 48-degree water. You're submerged. Okay, it's basically the whole thing is like, hey, you're gonna get hypothermia. You got to be able to react. It's very likely, situation where you're traveling by boat in Alaska, at which point maybe you fall out of the boat, something happens. Now you're wet, now you're in the water. You got to get a fire, you got to get dry somehow. So that's this competition. So fast forward, they get out of the water. Now they get their partner. They got a bag of supply kits, got like a heated, like one of those reflective blanket kind of things. So you can decide what you want to do. Some people take their clothes off. Some people put the blanket on. Some people say, screw it, let's just go gather a bunch of wood. Fast forward, you got to get some wood. You got to get this fire going. You got to get dry. That's competition. They announce the sequence of who finishes the fire first, second, third. And they explain that there's other people, this one couple, who decided to take all their clothes off, swap clothes, bold strategy. They had the slowest fire, but they were the driest. So potentially a tiebreaker. There you have it.
Yeah,
they
well,
didn't
that's why it was
resolve
unclear who the winner was.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the person who finished
It didn't
first.
make it clear.
The competition was get that fire going.
So, James,
Consolation prize, person that was the driest.
I have a question for you. So, the first competition, there was a winner that got to go to see the house. For the winner of the fire competition, what did they get?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Thank you.
I think it was just kudo points, right? Like, basically, because the couple get to pick which of the couple, the Dina and I forget their names, the people who have the house.
Dwayne and
Rena
Rena.
and Dwayne.
Yeah, Rena and Dwayne. They get to decide, and they only get this input from the CJ character, who is judging all of them, and that's the show.
Most of what you said is correct. However, while they said that these people started the fire in this order, we do not know that that makes them the winner. It hopefully and probably does, but we do not know this yet. And at some point, CJ will discuss with Dwayne and Rena, and then the winners will probably also get to go to this house at some point.
Like that's kind of the whole thing with this show, because a lot, like, these challenges don't really seem like they have like strict winners and losers. Like in the first challenge where the challenge was like, hey, like build a tent, they all just end up like kind of working together to get all the tents built, and then the dude who was just observing them was just kind of, taking notes on whoever was gonna be able to adapt to this Alaskan lifestyle the best or whatever. So it's all just kind of like they're constantly being sort of surveilled. This dude is telling the old people about people that they might be interested in and inviting up to the house, and yeah.
So
Do
I have a
Dwayne and
question.
Rena get to watch the tape?
That was exactly what I was going to ask, is do they get to see any of the footage that's happening?
I don't
Or-
think so.
Like, the show doesn't lead you to believe that. It leads you to believe that they only get to hear this conversation with CJ, and then later, which we'll get to, they get to do some interviews when people come to the house, that kind of stuff.
All
But-
you gotta do is pay off CJ.
right?
Yeah.
Like CJ has arguably the most power in this game. What's CJ getting out of this? Just a paycheck? Is he getting anything more?
What if the series ends that CJ gets the house?
Big twist.
He already
But he
has a
does
house.
CJ is probably already pissed that he hasn't been given the house. Like, he's like, why is there this TV show? Why didn't I just freaking get the house? I've been the one helping them for the last 27 years.
Hey man, he didn't walk. Okay, so for context, they say that Dwayne and Rena walked 57 miles into the wilderness and like just set up this house in the middle of nowhere by themselves, and they built the whole thing. Noah is like really shaking his head right now, so I'm curious.
Oh yeah, there's some heat coming from the internet corner.
Oh no!
So VJ might know where I'm going. So Dwayne, he started building his house on his own. He did the 57-mile hike. In the show, they kind of glossed over like their meeting story. They kind of had like a quick chuckle on it. They
It was
met.
unclear if she was there when he was building the house.
Well, that does get clarified. So Dwayne wrote an autobiography about building the house.
Apparently there's multiple books, not just one.
Is there a multiple? Yeah,
I saw two as well.
Yeah, actually, no. There is 4, 6, or 7. Yeah. So he has many books, but Rena came through a mail order bride system.
Oh,
Which feels like has the seeds of its own reality TV show that they totally just missed the opportunity on.
I mean, there is a reality show related to that. We can come back to that.
But maybe they'll dive deeper into that. Like that'll be what the good parts of this show are.
I think based on the way they presented in this show, their plan is to totally gloss over that and present Dwayne and Rita as this sort of nice wilderness couple together, and they're not going to get into all this stuff Noah's talking about.
They definitely are trying to make it seem like this is the perfect couple. They were out here for 29 years. They built this house together. They're strong. They came together as one. It was love. The guy says it was love at first sight. Like in the show.
I agree. I'm in
Once
team
you came
Rob and
over,
Chris.
it was love at first sight.
Were they married at first sight?
In the catalog.
They kind of were.
Was Dr. Pepper involved in their meeting? That's what we
I
really
don't
need
think
to
they
know.
trust the process.
They
There's
trusted the
also-
process.
Like the internet also suggests Dwayne has a son who was involved in the initial house situation. And so, like, I think Dwayne and his son built the house. And that's really the other party. And they never really mention the son in the show.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
who's
implied
holding
that
the
she's
camera?
building the house.
For context, there's shots of him building this house, old footage. Who's
That's the
holding?
son.
That was the son.
I
That
don't know.
Must
wasn't.
be. Like,
Are the shots of him building the house, or the shots like after the house has been built, he went back and just filmed like the completed house?
It definitely seemed like some construction shots, but unclear
construction
how
shots,
far
okay.
into construction it was. Like
Okay.
it could be like half the house is done, and they're just extending it. I don't know.
But either way, in Alaska, you need as much firewood as you can chop. You're always chopping that wood.
all the time.
That's all you got to do. Chop wood.
I think
get
there
water.
was a good 5 minutes of chopping firewood in this episode.
Yeah, there was not enough chopping of wood for an Alaska show, though. It's a little low on the Alaska series of shows.
Maybe that's
Hey,
episode 2.
inside
It's the wood chopping episode.
Could be. I could, there should be a little more wood chopping, if I'm being honest with you.
So
There was a lack of it.
there was a reality show. I've never seen this show called Married in Alaska or something. And the premise is Alaska is the state with the greatest male to female gender disparity. There aren't enough ladies in Alaska. So the premise of the show was flying a bunch of women up to date these guys, and then if they choose to stay there, they get some prize, or they can go back to their life in the contiguous states.
We gotta watch it.
I
We'll
can
add it to
only
the queue.
assume
I feel like we need a throwback month sooner or later, but
I'd have to imagine there's at least like half of the women on the show are just like from LA County.
it's possible. Trying to get that said. Well, this I don't know how long ago this was. I'd have to look it up, but I don't know how big the social media influencer virus was as strong at that point. But
Fun fact though, you could really get probably a solid tan in the summertime though. That 24 hours of sunlight,
it's true.
always
But
tan.
it's not like great sunlight.
Oh, it's
It's
definitely
very
not.
common.
So this show, the premise is the couple that wins the show gets Dwayne's house, right? Like that's the thing, because Dwayne wants to sort of hand it off to worthy
Couple.
couple.
Yeah, they want to pass it down.
And I was like, what do you think the origin of this show was? Like, was Dwayne like, I got this great idea for a show, and he was calling up the BBC and being like, hey, let's do this show? Because he's wrote this books, did people reach out to him? Like, why do we think we got to this thing? We're like, we're going to do this show, and it ends with you giving your house to somebody.
It's because he can't sell it.
I don't know. He's written a bunch of books, so I'm sure that gives him some popularity, which I don't know if somebody, it's unclear if somebody reached out to him or he reached. I feel like he has to reach out if he's going to give away his house. He's like, I have to leave because I cannot sustain this house anymore because I'm too old. What do I do with this house? Like, is a question. And I don't know if it was his idea or BBC's idea to be like, oh, well, why don't we do this reality show?
So on the reputable site montnews.com, Joanne said they were approached about the idea of a program by a media group known as 24, which presented the idea first in the U.S., but Rena says no American companies jumped at it, and then the BBC got involved.
Interesting.
I was curious why it was a British show. We didn't really dig into that yet, but now I guess Noah solved it.
No one wanted to bite.
Yeah. Well, BBC, they produced it. So BBC and Netflix, it seems.
In this media group called 2-4. I'm looking to 2-4 is about.
Two.
You digging in the corner?
So these 6 couples, they're mostly, there's one couple in their like mid 50s, Pete and Jane, but everyone else seemed to be in their like 30s or like close to 30.
The one guy, like his wife is 37. I believe he's 53.
Oh, that's probably 2 couples went by and I didn't get a chance to check their age.
Yeah, I think that was the one who was called a leader for the first competition, but he was not the winner.
Mark and Emily.
Oh yeah, Mark seems real legit. I think Mark is in the lead so far of the competition overall.
Yeah, he's a farmer. It's like, oh, he's well positioned for this.
It's true. Well, you don't know what all the challenges are going to be. Like, the first challenge definitely seemed to be like very mechanical. Like, can you set up this tent with just going out and cutting down trees? Like, I have no fucking like. I have an idea, but it would take me a lot longer than I think they were.
I think they only had like 4 hours or something, like maybe 3. It was like 3 or 4 hours tops.
Yeah.
And
you don't show up in the middle of the afternoon and be like, all right, now I'm trying to make this giant tent shelter.
Dude, like I don't know. Like we've gone to some music festival camping in, and I don't know. I've seen people take many hours to get those tents up, which have instructions on them.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's not even cutting down the tree and trimming all the branches and shit.
It's marked poles with a pre-made cutouts and everything. Take hours. You can't believe it sometimes.
I actually thought they were setting it up with the editing that Mark had won the challenge. And so I don't know if I was like, I missed something, but I was like, when Mark didn't win, I was like, wait, that's not who's that? Like,
they definitely snuck in some stuff from the, what the fuck the other survival expert guy was, whatever his name was. They snuck some things in where we're like, yeah, it seemed like Rachel was doing a great job, which was the winner. And they didn't mention Emily at all. So I think that just like they were a better couple overall than Mark, because Mark and Emily is just Mark, and Matt and Rachel is like both of them. I don't know. The show doesn't spend a whole lot of time on its like decisions or like its conclusions. It's not very definitive
or structure.
We've already kind of gone over.
Like Rachel and the other guy went to the house, but now they're going back to the competition, and it's not really clear. Like, are people getting eliminated? Are someone else going to the house? What's going on? Like, we're kind of a bit lost in sort of how the rest of the thing plays out.
I mean, like it seems like how the show's going to go is you've got these 6 couples. There are going to be basically 4 like, interview slots with the couple that owns this house. They're going to go to that house, interview with them, have dinner, spend the night. They're going to kind of, evaluate you. At the end of that, they basically make a decision that says like, hey, we just know right now this ain't working, and they just boot you off the show. Or they just send you back to the camp with the other people to, I think, just hang out until all 4 interviews are completed, at which point they're going to pick somebody to get that house to. That's kind of how
I think you still do the competitions though
in the future ones, because like the second interview, if it's not as good as the first one, then right, there's like ranking automatically. But right now they were like, yeah, what if all 5 teams suck more, even if these people suck? So we got to keep them around.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Harrison, other than the fact that I think they will be doing the challenges.
Right.
I don't think they're going to be sitting around.
Yeah.
No, sure.
Because they're still like an overall.
But it's kind of the like reverse where usually the losers stick around. They go to like Redemption Island type of thing, and they get back in. Like the winners are on like Winners Island, so it's like they kind of like half-ass it, just so they like sticking around.
I disagree. This is just the challenge formula. This is the elimination challenge. You survive the elimination, you go back to the party tent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Challenge
or Bachelor.
Right.
I do think other people might work harder because they need to get into this interview slot.
Got to earn that Red Skull.
4 for 6 of them, 1 is gone. So now there's 3 for 5. You gotta make it, or you have no chance.
So there's only gonna be 4 slots. People are gonna be working hard to get in. It doesn't seem like you can go back to the house again after you've gone there before. So basically, if you come back and you haven't been eliminated, you're just trying to not fuck up and like have CJ or whatever his name is be ratting on you that you're slacking.
You think CJ's related to TJ?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, even though you've already gone and done your interview, like, you can still get judged on how you're performing on the different challenges and stuff. So I don't think you can take it too easy, but you probably don't have the same motivation of someone that hasn't gotten to the house yet.
I think if you're like the last one to go, you have a bigger advantage because you're the one that tried the hardest throughout this whole thing versus this first one where you're just not going to try harder than the other people will towards the end of the competition.
Oh yeah, you definitely have the biggest advantage because Dwayne and Rena are going to have their questions dialed in.
Yeah.
Where now they're kind of like fishing.
Yeah. So the one thing that they said about this couple, because they said they still wanted to travel and see the world. And then Dwayne was like, you don't want to leave it for the bears to chew on. At some point, I guess insinuating they don't want their house to be empty while they go travel the world. And for
then
bears
Dwayne was like, if
chew
they
on.
go traveling, they'll either have to get a housekeeper or lock it up. And I'm like, yeah, that's just normal life. Like, what's the third option?
They've just
Also,
never
you
left
don't
their house.
really have to lock it up because it's in the middle of nowhere. There's gonna be no like one robbing you.
Yeah, the threat is definitely not robbing you. It is definitely just the Alaskan winter harsh environment that will crush your house if you're not
Right.
Tending to it.
It just depends on like how, like, if they're traveling for like 3 weeks, right? That's one thing. If they're traveling for like 2 years, that's like obviously then they have to do something.
And like the way that they were talking about it was like, hey, we're young, we still want to travel the world, et cetera, et cetera. Which, like, when they said it, I thought it was just immediately going to be like a disqualifying answer because that is just not what those people are looking for. Like, they're looking for someone who's going to move in that house and live there for the rest of their life and just like keep building on it and improving it. They're not looking for these people who are kind of like, we're still kind of figuring out our lives and going around the world.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
spot
it
on.
seems unclear. These people don't have a great idea of what they want from life. And I'm sure like this might be what they want, but it also might not be.
I definitely agree with VJ in that they're still there because they're the first couple and there's no one to really compare them against to like eliminate them. But I think if they had gone later, they probably would have just been booted.
So
I
that's
definitely
Matt
thought they
and
were going to
Rachel.
get booted during this. At least it was teed up that way to like lead you to believe they were going to get booted. But I legitimately thought like that was a fair game to boot them. Like at that point, like they didn't seem like this is the thing. And like it's pretty clear that these people are looking for somebody to like take this, like inherit this house and like make it their own and build like and expand this kind of thing and like really make it into something and like truly leave like a legacy and grow it. And like they're not looking for people to come and take like a vacation here. Like not at all.
Right.
I just don't see what more do they need people to do? Like the
See,
house is
yeah,
there.
you're not getting
they
the
have
house, Chris.
greenhouse. They got an airstrip. Like, what am I doing?
You gotta be
Fishing,
building more
uh,
shit. You
always
gotta
do
build
more.
a
Like,
bigger
that's
guest
the
house.
thing.
You gotta build like a butchering table. You gotta be getting on it.
Is this Minecraft? What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's a house.
Yeah.
Minecraft is based on houses, not the other way around.
Chris, I
Minecraft
didn't.
is based on real life in this case.
Can't you be comfortable with what you have? Why
No.
you always need more?
Chris,
You
this is
can be.
America.
They're not. You can decide if they have to be comfortable with what they have. They have to decide that. And they
I'm
just don't
I'm
want
saying,
people who
just
are...
like you live in this pristine wilderness, relax.
Chris, I did not see a hot tub in that house, so it seems like there's more to do.
That is a great
fair
point.
enough, Rob. I definitely on the list would be a hot tub for sure.
I think that's the best point this season.
And we also didn't really see the inside of the house and how nice and not nice it is. Like, we saw like 3 shots. Maybe it's like a piece of shit from the inside.
Whoa.
I have a whole floor that isn't finished yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Right.
you gotta finish the 3rd floor.
I mean, it's the
And then they
attic,
got
guys.
it.
Come on, get off their backs. Like
He's
they
been
built
building
thing
this house for
hand.
30 years. He still hasn't finished all the floors, Chris. There's work to do.
I mean, you build that airstrip, dude. That's a lot of work. That's many years of work.
Yeah, how do you
the
think you
airstrip
get
is
the
just
tools
like a field, right?
to the
Like, there's
location
no
You gotta
actual-
clear all
to
those
build the
trees.
house?
Yeah, dude.
You gotta like pat down the earth, that's just not. It's not a weekend's worth of work.
You got to cut all those trees. You got to clear a field first.
The primary skill for owning this house seems to be being able to cut down trees and like deal with trees, and like they really need to make that one of the challenges coming up here to just be like cut down as many trees as you can in an hour, or like I mean it's something like that, or else like the guy's gonna have to do what he did for this interview, and for everyone that comes in the thing, he's gonna have to go and see if they know how to cut down a fucking tree.
I bet that's what he's gonna do. He has this technique that he has to prepare the tree and all this stuff. I bet he's got a whole bunch just ready to go, and he's like,
He's
"Yeah,
trying to get some free labor.
let's go cut a tree."
I want to know what the transition plan is for this house. Like, how long do you live there with that guy, like understanding how everything works and operates before he dumps it out? Oh,
Dude.
I think,
0?
I haven't looked it up. I think it's 0. I think at one day they're like, "Here's your house." Because I think if Dwayne and Rena were living there with someone, they would just be so unhappy about it. I don't think they're really into the idea of giving away their house. And being there with someone else would really drive them insane. So I don't think they can deal with that. They're only leaving. So Internet Corner says like they're basically leaving because of like both of them have heart trouble.
Yeah.
Right. So then like they're just trying to get out.
I mean, like he clearly doesn't want to give up the house, but he does want whoever takes it to like carry on his legacy and like treat it well. So like I do think that he would want to spend some time with that next person to make sure that they know about the tree technique and that they know about how whatever work. I mean, because like things must be built and hooked up and done in such a nuts way out there. Like you need a manual that's this thick probably that comes with this place.
I'm not sure how come we don't see more experts. I feel like about the 6 couples, we didn't really get much backstory. And maybe that happens in future episodes, but like it'd be good to get some like backstory. But then also like they seem like a bunch of noobs. And I thought there'd be like 6 expert couples here.
Yeah, we should get into that. I was also surprised by like you get what the show is teed up as, and it is, hey, you are going into the interior of Alaska. You're 100 miles from the nearest road. Like you're going out in the bush and you're gonna like live in this house. So you got to know how to do all of the Alaska stuff. And they got people showing up in sneakers, not even having proper waterproof boots on and things. Like what is this? I couldn't believe the like level of like I was just expecting a higher bar. You know, like this looks like the kind of thing. Like if this was
It's
your
kinda
dream,
weird.
you would be like coming in ready to go. Like you've read all the latest stuff. Maybe you've done some excursions. Like you're really gunning for it. And I feel like it's a little underwhelming, at least so far, with the skill level they've showed. Maybe it's better. I do have high hopes for this Mark fella. He seems like he's really on point, but I don't know. We'll see.
There was some guy on the show who had to ask the person who is rating them what to do if a bear is attacking them or chasing them or something. If you get there and you have to ask what to do, you shouldn't be there.
But like,
oh,
it
yeah.
would make sense.
People-
It
Go
would
ahead.
make sense if the show was like a comedy, like they were going for the comedic angle, right? So like then like everyone it's just a bunch of laughs because these bunch of idiots are failing at life. But like that's not what they're doing, unless it's like so deeply comical that I'm not getting it, and I just think it's too wild.
It's not a comical vibe. It's a very
Right.
straight-laced, serious show, BBC vibe to the show.
But they could have gotten like 6 couples, and like I know these are British couples, but like you can definitely find 6 British couples who are like experts in the wilderness and really deserve to own this great mansion. These 6 couples are not that.
It doesn't seem that way. I agree with that.
But maybe they don't want to live in Alaska. Like I feel like there's not that many people in the world, especially in the UK, that have these expert survival skills and want to move to Alaska. I just don't think they're that
And
many
want to be
people.
on a TV show.
And want to be on a TV show.
I have a question. If these people are all British citizens, how are they going to go and be able to actually live and move to Alaska when they're not going to have jobs there or like anything?
Right? Like how does immigration work?
Yeah.
Maybe these are the 6 couples who have dual citizenship, and that's why they had to go with these people.
Gotta be some kind of weird I bet it cuts down the number of people that can do it. I don't know.
If you're living off the land, do you actually need a work visa? Like you're just not.
You need some visa, Rob. Like otherwise you get deported.
Well,
I know it's
they
tiny.
have a work visa right now because they're on the show, right? There's some sort of visa.
Are you
Is
proposing
Netflix
the
gonna
show?
sponsor some kind of 90-day fiance situation to make this?
Like
happen?
you just get that visa to come here and then you just don't leave. Where are they gonna go? Who's gonna come take you and deport you?
Immigration,
Like,
ICE.
They're on Netflix. Like it's like they'll be pretty easy to catch, dude. And like they don't have anywhere to run to.
You don't know where this house is though.
They have everywhere to run
Oh,
to. This is
they
all
know
in
knows where this
wilderness.
house. There
They
are
mentioned it
7
40
books about
times.
this house. 7 books about this house, Chris.
They showed a map.
You don't know where it is, guys. It's not on Google Maps. It doesn't exist.
I think one thing that's also kind of funny, and maybe this is like because this is like a British show kind of vibe, is there's not a strong aspect of competition in any way. Like the first kind of challenge these people are given, they immediately kind of like start working together, and it doesn't seem like anybody's trying to like show off for CJ, their like teacher. Nobody's like really trying to like obviously make any kind of play or like sabotage people. And then when the one couple is meeting the people who own the house, like they talk about like traveling the world. I feel like they could have left that out if they were really trying to get that house. Like you could present like it's like a job interview, and I was surprised that like if that's their intention, they didn't have to say it. I thought it was interesting that there's not a strong, like it seems like everyone's being very real and there's not a strong sense of like competition.
The first part we definitely discussed earlier, but the second part, I think those people thought that them wanting to travel the world will be impressive. they didn't understand what the hosts want.
They didn't read
That's
the
just a
room.
misread on the
Yeah, I think as I was watching this, I like said out loud, like, gotta read the room, and they were just clearly not doing it. But I'm glad you said it, Rob. I feel like we were together in that moment.
I got you.
This is definitely, we've seen a couple British shows like this, like the what was the spy show? we
Churchill's
watched?
Secret Agents.
Agents.
Well, I don't remember. We've seen so many of these things. I can't remember them all. That one was very similar, where it's competition, but like no one was really competing. But what I have to say is like this first challenge, it is pouring rain. You do not have any shelter. There's like, and some of these people just had no idea what they were doing. I think that was very smart of them to all work together, at least for probably 4 of the 6 couples. So I don't think they would have been able to make it.
I think so too. I think a lot of the stuff they were putting up, it seemed impossible to do with 2 people. I'm just kind of surprised that no one tried to show off more for CJ. I feel like it seems like the people on the show don't treat him as like their judge. Like they're asking him these questions about the bear. I feel like they don't realize that he has so much weight.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like I have a good feeling that most of these people don't really want this house, but they wanted to go to Inner Alaska.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a big thing. I mean, and you kind of saw this when the first couple went out to the house, but like when they got there and they saw all the work that had been done, and like they met these people and they saw how like sentimental they are about the house and all this stuff, there's like, oh man, this is actually like a pretty big responsibility, like to take this house over from these people. Like, we better be prepared to like be all in and make and do a really good job if we're going to do this. And like, so it's going to be interesting to see like by the end, like how many of these couples are actually like interested in like kind of like taking up that burden and like living that whole lifestyle,
Just like, I'm gonna leave. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want that house.
Like, it would be fascinating. I hope the next episodes go into it, but like actually understanding the day to day of living there. Like, it seems like a full time job, like literally to live there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it is.
You gotta cut down a tree every day.
Cut down a tree. Who like
You gotta
they
feed
have
yourself.
solar panels? Like, how do you get the power for the place? What does internet look like?
I'm really
Like,
hoping for that.
I
I don't
hunting
think they have
episode.
internet.
I think they got that satellite dish.
Yeah, satellite.
They did 3 satellite dishes on that house.
Yeah, like I know. I'm pretty sure, like, because they didn't make a comment on the woman being an accountant. He's like, oh yeah, she can work from home. So like I think they would have said something like, oh, well, how is she going to work from home if you don't have internet?
They just filed that one away, Noah.
They have the
They're
internet.
definitely connected. Like,
Yeah.
apparently 700 American couples applied to be contestants on this show
Oh.
before it went to BBC.
How many UK contestants?
That's not on the shitty website's article that I'm reading. But I have a lot of fun facts about Dwayne, which I'll get to whenever you guys are ready.
Oh man.
One thing we should talk about is the whole beginning of the show was talking about bears. There's a good like 5-minute segment about how to use bear spray and like what to do when a bear comes and like, hey, you got to leave your backpack on because you know if a bear's coming at you, you want them eating your backpack and not your spinal cord. And there's definitely like a lot of ominous things about bears.
It was
That,
also
like,
an
CJ was
interesting
going
learning
over.
moment too. Like I thought there was some cool stuff in that. It was interesting.
And
Learn the
then
difference between
The
brown
rest
bears
of
and black
every
bears.
one of the contestants was walking around with bear mace and a holster on their hip too, just like ready to go in case that bear pops out.
There's one black bear for every square mile of Alaska, as we learned.
But you
from
don't
the
really
show.
have to worry about black bears. You
What?
gotta worry about those grizzly bears.
No, dude,
Why
you
don't
got
you
it
worry about
wrong.
black bears?
The black
It's the
bear
opposite.
is the one that wants to eat you. The grizzly
No, the
bear
grizzly
is
bears are
protecting
the
their
ones
turf.
that want to eat.
No.
No.
Reverse.
No.
Yep, you dead.
Learn something every day.
You bear food.
Well, you learned it the past hour.
If you'd paid more attention to the show, you would have learned it an hour ago.
No, they said grizzly bears are more territorial, so they're
That's right.
the one. So you guys are contradicting the show.
No, they said that.
The show said a grizzly bear is just attacking you because in the territory, but when the brown bear attacks, when the black bear attacks you, it's because it wants to eat you. That's what the show said.
It's bad news either way. Let me I don't think there's we're trying to poke holes. Like it's bad news either way. You're not going one on one with a bear.
No, I mean, you got to get a gun.
Right?
Like, there's a solution.
No, you got that bear mace.
Fuck that, dude. You're definitely getting a gun.
There was a
I don't think so,
Dude, like a 400-pound bear trying to eat you?
Yeah, the
I
gun's
ain't
not
messing
gonna
around
do
with a
shit,
can of
dude.
spray? You joking me?
Yeah,
You
dude.
gotta shoot that bear
spray's gonna work
and
way
harvest the
better
meat.
than a gun.
Yo, if you're gonna survive Alaska, Chris, you gotta harvest that meat. You're not gonna get that meat by spraying it with some pepper spray? You're gonna let all that meat just run away in the woods?
I'm just
That's
telling
like a
you,
month, 2
The
months worth of
spray's
food.
gonna irritate that bear and make it run away more than just like you shoot it.
If you shoot it, then you eat it. I'm failing to see what you're not getting.
You're just not gonna kill it with a shot. You're gonna have to kill it shoot it multiple times.
You gotta
or
get
the
like a
right spot.
shotgun.
It's just gonna be a lot harder than
You
think.
gotta get a rifle, clearly.
Yeah, the rifle, the bear's right in your face.
You shoot the bear before it gets that close. This is covered. This is known. This is
You
known,
can-
Chris.
A sniper gun, Chris. You shoot it from a mile away and you're good.
I'm not sure I know enough about this topic about bears, and the show didn't really go over it that well.
No.
So
That's episode
Dude.
5 probably.
It's
you know.
got hunting has
Time.
got to be an episode.
But if
I don't
if
think
you
it will
ha-
be.
If you moved into this house, how much of your time do you got to spend looking for Squatch and doing some knocks and some calls?
You don't have time, Rob. Like you have to run the house. That's so much work. You literally don't have time to do anything else.
I disagree.
Annabeth,
You
can
do both.
give us your best sultry Squatch call? Thank you, Annabeth.
You're welcome.
I've been hearing that at night. I didn't realize that was you.
Every
That's
night.
well, no, that's Sasquatch.
I know you're hearing
Obviously-
Sasquatch.
Obviously, that's Sasquatch.
You've heard Sasquatch knocks and you haven't told us till now? You're holding out?
I mean, there's a lot of corners in the alley.
Alley squatches.
Let's
So-
see.
I'm curious. So Dwayne and Rena said, if you live here, you have to have an ability to make an income. They don't go over how they make money. I have a feeling Dwayne
Writing
isn't even
books
thinking
about
of the
the
book.
house.
Hmm?
He's writing those books about the house, I guess.
But he only started writing them in 2013. So like,
Well, now he's making some money from Netflix.
So something
I
they
don't know
touch
when he
on.
made money 30 years ago.
They do
Like,
touch
they
on
might
it
be
where the
retired. Like they're 78, 79. Like so, like they might just be retired, right? Because they've saved up enough money previously.
I wonder if they rent out or have people visit, because the bush pilot that takes these contestants out to their place explains how he loves flying up to this place because one, it's beautiful, and two, he loves seeing how like everyone reacts to it and like all that kind of stuff. But like he implies that he takes both supplies and people pretty regularly to these people's place.
But
So,
again, that would only be
not
happening
explained
since the books, right? Why would like people didn't really like? Is this a popular place before that? I find it hard to believe.
I don't know
I
if this
don't think
place.
that's happening because the couple that was visiting was talking about like their idea to make money was by like renting it out or like taking people on tours or something. And I feel like the couple would have mentioned something if they had been having people visit.
That seems like the easiest way to make money, or at least a decent way to make money. But like you can only do that in the summer.
There's like 7 people who are gonna show up, dude. You're in the middle of nowhere. You
But some
can't be
people
like,
want to
"I'm
do
gonna-
that.
I'm gonna. You can't invent tour spots.
Sure you can.
No, you can't.
It's called Chrisland.
Called
I
Vegas.
mean, if you don't have the facilities, then they're not going to come. So until you have the facilities, like, you don't know.
I mean, that's essentially what Vegas
that
did,
one
right?
was talking about trying to build some kind of like a motocross like track in the woods for some people would fly out to there and ride the motocross track. That
I
is
also thought that was gonna be immediate DQ for them. Like
Yeah.
this guy's an idiot. Out.
for sure. Between that and the traveling thing, ain't no way these people are getting the house.
He's thinking outside the box. I have a question, though, before we move too far. I've been watching Noah cook food, and I want to know what he's eating.
I am eating mango.
Why did you use a microwave for mango?
So I buy frozen mango at Costco,
Okay.
and then you put it in a microwave, and it comes out pretty good.
All right. I just needed to take a quick pause and figure out what Noah was eating.
Yeah,
Well,
mango's a pain in the ass, right? As a fruit, where you have to like peel it, then it gets like super juicy, and it has a big pit. Like it's really like a lot of work. The frozen mango, it's diced up, put it in the microwave for a minute. It comes out like pretty juicy and tasty.
So you want it to be juicy.
It is by far the best like frozen fruit to value ratio out of like the frozen fruit spectrum.
How many other frozen fruits are you thawing in the microwave and then just eating them?
I mean, I've gone through a lot, but mango is by far the best. I don't have any more right now.
Do you use the frozen? Hold on. Do you use the frozen fruits for anything other than warming them up in the microwave and eating them?
I used to use them a lot for shakes, like
Okay.
years ago. But now, no, I don't use them for anything else.
You keep saying mango's the best frozen fruit like value thing. Like that, like a lot of people like me would say the mangoes are just the best fruit, period. So like that just seems like a property of the mango. The frozen part seems mostly irrelevant.
No, but it's like, let's say you get frozen blueberries, right? Like,
But why get frozen fruit to begin with? Why not just get non-frozen fruit?
oh,
You can buy
well,
already cut and sliced mangoes. No,
yeah, it's like
so-
the work's done for you.
No, but you don't need to buy the frozen cut. You can just buy fresh cut mangoes.
Oh, that gets super expensive relative. Like, you get a big bag of mango at Costco. it's like
Okay, we gotta go back. Veva,
Dude,
I need the
Sounds like
Dwayne
Costco.
details.
but we can't
us
just
the
gloss
Dwayne
over.
details.
Like,
I gotta
Noah
go with
is
Dwayne
the
details.
exact opposite of what the show is.
100%. Yeah, it's exactly the opposite.
We gotta move away. It's too much.
Chris, you were the one who brought us there.
I had to know though. Oh, it's killing me.
Okay,
BJ.
Dwayne details. Grew up on a farm, Yellow Medicine County. I don't know where the hell that is. Served in the army in Korea. Returned to operate his cement business. Then, this is the fun part. He lost sight in one eye when his first wife, inebriated, pulled out a rifle and fired it.
What?
Into
That was
his
a-
eye?
I'm not sure, like, into his eye. Like, drunk wife, fires off a gun, a rifle to be particular, and now he's missing an eye.
Was she trying to shoot a bear or him?
Unclear.
Then he fell in love with the Alaskan wilderness on a trip and never turned back. Not sure if he told the wife about this or just like laughed. And then he filed his homestead claim in 1986, which homestead claim I looked up a little more details about it. Homestead Act allowed families to claim 160 acres of land for just $10, provided it was used to set up a family in farming.
So is that
So-
why he needs to have that greenhouse? Like, what other farming are you gonna be able to do?
No, I think once you file it, then you're done. Like I think then you own it. It's not a you don't have. It's not a lease. It's you own the land. He basically bought that land for $10.
He
Again,
had that rhubarb.
he needs the greenhouse to grow the food to survive the Alaskan winter. How are you guys not getting this? They don't just have a Costco where they're getting their own unlimited supply of frozen mangoes. They gotta grow the food. I don't.
Yeah,
You gotta shoot the bear.
I got some more background on Dwayne Arena. So I found out how they make money.
Ooh.
Wait, let me can I put in how they met, just to
Okay.
add on to what you said earlier. He met Rena, a native of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, thanks to an ad she placed looking for someone interested in living in either the Northwest Territories or Alaska. So, like, sort of mail order, like she placed the ad, really.
Interesting. Yeah, I actually
Connected with
found,
classifieds.
Was
I
it like
even
a cash?
found another blog which totally went another route, and he's like, "Yeah, Dwayne saw Rena in the grocery store, and he went for it." I'm like, man, what's out there with all these myths on the internet about their meeting?
So
Yeah.
it sounds like there was no sort of cash transaction with her becoming his wife. It was just kind of like a personal ad that he responded to.
Sounds
This
like-
is
yeah.
westcentraltribune.com. So, like, it's, it is what it is.
Okay.
I would say maybe it sounds like it was a gunshot wedding.
It was definitely a gunshot divorce.
So Son was with the first wife that shot him.
This article did not mention the son. The book description, one of the books, the description is Dwayne and son Daniel's journey into Alaska.
Yeah.
But that would
Seems to
explain.
make sense that the son is with the first wife.
Right. It
But
would
then,
explain why the son's not
the
getting the house.
Amazon listing doesn't have anything to do with the son at all. So I don't know.
I was looking at book number 2, to be particular.
Yeah. Oh, book number 2. I don't know.
Also, quickly, Yellow Medicine County is in Minnesota. So there you go.
Right.
There's one thing I looked up. When you look up his books, one of his books is called Visited by Star Travelers.
Oh.
Oh.
Sci-fi?
No, I think that according to the description, it made it seem like he has some sort of experience with extra like terrestrials.
It's the
So
other
it's
benefit of having a
autobiographical.
runway.
So
Aliens
it's
have a
a
place to land.
autobiography about his time with extraterrestrials.
Are we sure they're extraterrestrials and not Sasquatch?
I don't know.
Here's a question: if a Sasquatch is flying a spaceship, does it make him an alien?
Is
What's
the-
his home planet?
Yeah,
Haven't thought about that part of it.
that's the key part.
So it's the
It's a
origin.
keeper.
Origin seems accurate. That really blows a hole in that question. Way to ruin the fun.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay,
we go
no.
for ratings. Do we
Man,
have
I got one quick question. So let's say this reality show, it actually goes through, someone wins, they take Dwayne's house, Dwayne and Rena leave. Where did Dwayne and Rena go to live? Like where are they setting up shop next?
It's some town close to there which has about population of 5,000.
So they're staying in Alaska, they're just moving out of their cabin in the woods to something slightly more populous but still pretty rural.
Right.
All right.
Do you think they'll
got
be
the internet corner?
checking up on the couple?
What was that?
Do you think they'll be checking up on this couple that's taking over their house? Do you think like every month they're gonna drop by and see what kind of developments are happening?
And Dwayne's just like, oh, what are you doing?
Do they get some sort of clause when they get this house? Is like there's like a probationary period where if they fuck up, they lose the house.
They should.
To be smart.
Does the
I
show
just can't
end-
imagine them giving away this house at the end of this reality show.
Like, is there a season 2 of this show? Is this a new show? I forget.
So season 2 is the person who wins this house is like, I gotta get out of this house. Let's do another competition.
No, but seriously,
Internet
like
says
season
they
2
have
has to
live
be
in
them
it
trying
for
to
a
live
few
in the
years
house.
before they legally own it.
Yeah, it's part of the contract.
And Noah, you want to add on how they make money?
Yeah. So they make money by trapping and selling of lynx pelts.
Oh.
Oh.
Does PETA know about this?
They're about to find out.
Our
So-
podcast, getting it out there.
Yeah.
This is also, guys, this is known. That's what happens in Alaska. If you watch any other Alaska shows, you would clearly know this.
James, you're
And,
talking about these Alaska shows. What are the other Alaska shows?
I mean, by
Rank 'em
far, Life Below Zero is very good. Disney Plus, you can watch it. I will say the con of that show compared to this one, plus for this show being on Netflix, is it was never like there's no commercial slots in it, so like there's no recaps or any of that. It just flows cleanly through an episode, and man, what a pleasure that is. Especially dealing with shows that have these commercials and like obnoxious recaps endlessly. I would say if you were a fan of Deadliest Catch and wanted something different, but Life Below Zero is right up that alley. It's basically filmed in like a very similar style, but it's about people trying to live the Alaskan life in the Arctic Circle. That's the pitch for that show. That went out of the wrong sequence. My bad, Chris Lorenz. Somehow
How dare
we
you.
pivoted. I don't know how we pivoted to that. Oh, Alaska shows. That's how. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also Alaska State Troopers, another good Alaska show about the Highway State Patrol in Alaska. They follow along, see what goes on. Sometimes get somebody lost their keys. Sometimes somebody is drunk and in their car, just sitting there. What are they doing? Drinking more vodka. Got to see what's going on. Got to get them home. Would recommend that one as well. There's also the. Oh, go ahead.
Don't put Who Put This On in your mouth. We got to do it on the pod and figure out cumulative rankings.
Should we do Alaska month? Can we please do
I
Alaska
was just
month?
thinking, it sounds like we're geared up for Alaska.
There's
month.
so much Alaska content.
We did that Alaska show a while ago. What was it where they were on the lake? What was that show?
Ice
called?
Lake Rebels.
Yeah, Ice Lake
Yeah.
Regals, another good one.
No,
What about
Wrong.
Ice Road Truckers?
Wrong.
Is that-
Ice Road Truckers, also Alaska.
There you go.
Deadliest Catch, Alaska, also parts in Seattle.
Yeah.
all right. We ready for
Hey.
ratings now?
Wait, I want to close the loop on some open-ended questions.
All right, no.
Yeah.
So
let's do
they
one.
have internet at the place, satellite internet. The house is totally off the grid. They got to generate their own electricity, their own drinking water. It's like
What grid?
What?
There's obviously no grid.
Well, we were talking about it, or I just want to like put the
Okay.
It's good.
in the coffin.
He's bringing the definitive answer.
Right. And then lastly, visa situation, totally up in the air. The basic guidance that one of the contestants got on, that one of the contestants who were on, they did an interview. And they were saying that when they had to get their visa, the lawyer was saying, yeah, if you did win, U.S. immigration's hard, so don't get your hopes up. But if you make $1 million plus investment into a business, that could be the easiest way of getting residency.
So these people have
Yeah.
$1 million?
I mean, that's just EB5 green cards, like pretty commonly known. A lot of people who come for work and stuff do that. And the
Yeah.
number just doubled up. Like it used to be 500K, and I believe they just raised it up to 1 million.
All right, Noah. What is your rating?
I'm putting this as a solid middle show. Middle of the middle. Like the show is very enjoyable to watch. It needs a little more structure on like the meaning of everything that happens beyond just the owner's subjective call. That'd be nice to see. I'd also love to learn more about the owners. Like it's kind of has this like mythical background, like Dwayne and like building up his own story. Super impressive what he built, but like it'd be just impressive to see how he actually lives every day and how they've been living for 30 years. And so enjoyable to watch, but I think that there's a lot of opportunity to get even better, which is why solid middle.
So VJ, so you're aware and the audience is aware. We do our rankings via stack ranking. So you've got top third, middle third, bottom third. whatever bucket you would put this reality show in compared to other reality shows you've seen. So saying that, VJ, what is your ranking?
I think it's like bottom of the middle. The show's fine, but it's well made and everything. They just don't go enough into the people. Like, they gotta tell me more about the contestants, about the hosts, about CJ. Like, all of these people. Like, people are what make reality TV, not Alaska, not a random house, not a random airstrip. And like, they just kind of gloss over all of it. They talk about bears more than most of the contestants. Like, what's that about? And then we don't even really see a bear. Like, you gonna talk about bears? Show me a goddamn bear. You're gonna show me people? Talk about the people.
All right, Rob, what do you got?
I'm gonna agree and put this in the middle. Like, you brought up Churchill's Secret Agents before, and at the first, I was feeling the same kind of vibe from like the production stuff like that. I was like, oh, so this, it was a little off rails, which I kind of like, but it was just kind of boring. And I think we just kind of like, I'm not really captured by the people. They don't really do enough to explain like the details of the competition. It's like the hook of what I'm really kind of interested in feels like it's not there. Like, I think the show has potential. I wonder if it kind of gets better, but so I'm not gonna put it in the bottom, but I can't put it higher in the middle. I also have a bonus rating that I'm just gonna get into right now, that I sent a Snapchat of Dwayne and his eye patch out, and I heard back from Courtney, who's been on the show before, who said, wow, I just watched that show yesterday. So I asked her, what's her rating? And she said, probably middle. It's not a top show, but I'm going to keep watching it. And then I'm curious if the guy will actually give away the house. Seems nuts. How did they get him to agree to do this show? So that's the update from Courtney.
I mean, it's pretty clear why he's doing the show is because he can't live there anymore because he's too old. And VJ says he's a heart problem. So like
Both of them,
yeah.
I'm
James.
just passing on Courtney's update.
I mean, I'm just telling Courtney when she listens to the pod why, if she did not get it, or if the audience did. James, what do you got for me?
Nice and simple. I agree with Courtney. I think this is right in the middle. She's on point here. I think agree with a lot of the points made. The main thing for me is it's just a little slow moving, which I think makes it a bit more boring on that aspect. But aside from that, it really gets a lot of points for none of the recapping BS. And overall, like, once you kind of get into it, I am intrigued to watch a little bit more.
Harrison, what do you got?
This one's kind of right on the edge of middle and top for me, but I think it's going to be in the middle until I watch a little bit more of it. I think that it's a really good concept for the show. Like, I think it's like a really, really interesting show concept. I think that all the scenes with the older couple who built and live in the house currently were like really good, and I would love for them to like lean more into them interacting with these potential candidates and like putting them through like the paces on the property and all that kind of stuff. Like that was really like the interesting part of the show to me, and kind of less these sort of dumb challenges that they had them doing like back at the camp. So we'll see if they lean into that a little more. We'll see if they expand some of the backstories a little bit. I'm definitely curious to see, who gets this house, if this dude's happy by giving it away, what the situation is. But like, it's a pretty incredible backstory, and I love like all the old footage that they have of them building the house in the early days and stuff. And it's just like a pretty incredible story, and interested to see where it goes. Middle.
Annabeth, what do you got?
I'm also gonna say it's in the middle. I think I agree a lot with what VJ said about I want a lot more of the backstories of these people who are on the show. Like, I don't we finished the show and I feel like I don't know anyone's name and I don't really know any facts about them. So it's hard to even root for someone because I want to be able to root for a couple that I like. So I think that's a little annoying. I think also I wanted a little more education. Like, they're doing these challenges about putting up a tent, and like I want them to tell me like some tips about like what they should be doing. Like, CJ's watching them and like kind of making comments, but they don't really tell you anything like what they're doing wrong or what they could do better. And they do this fire challenge and they don't really tell me like what they should do to make the fire. So I think I would have appreciated a little of that. But I think the older couple is like very interesting and compelling. Like, the older guy at one point says that like when he leaves this property, he thinks he's gonna die because he's like so attached to it. Like, I think there's like a lot more that we could get about those people that would be really, really interesting, and like the story of how he built it. So I think there's a nugget of goodness in here, and it might get really good as the season goes on, but it's a middle.
Thank you. I'm really struggling, guys, because it seems like a middle third show, but at the end of the day, it seems so hollow. Like, I didn't learn anything. I don't give a fuck about any of these people. I could care less about these old people that build a house in the middle of nowhere. So it seems so rife for like a bottom third, and I really don't know where to go. Like, I want to be the contrarian, but I'll put it in the middle because it's intriguing. I want to know more, but like this show just is not giving it to me, and I'm not sure more episodes would give me anymore. It's like this loosey-goosey challenges without a real way to have a winner. Like, not telling me the winner and telling me the right thing to do. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's the point of the show, is like getting to learn how to survive and like figuring out how these people survived, and like I don't know any of that. Like, it is just very weird concept, and it's so short. It's 6 episodes, so it's not like you have a lot of time to really grow into it. So I don't know. That's what I'm gonna say.
I feel like apart from more people stuff, like which a bunch of us said, the other thing that would be really cool, like would change the show for me, even though it wouldn't really change the show minute by minute. Like, it would be like if the house is super balling, just kind of like doing like crib style show off of the house. I mentioned to some people like Architectural Digest has a show where people show off their houses, which is basically 20 cribs. And Aaron Paul has this like cabin being a loose term. It's like multi-million-dollar mansion that he has built that's like a log cabin. And like, if this house was that, the whole thing just changes for me. Because now people are competing. Like, you would just see people's behavior changing, I think. Because like, if they were, instead of living in this house, which we don't really know how it is, if they were gonna live in like something that like even the sink cost $3,000, like maybe this would be a different battle.
Yeah, I don't know. Rob, I need to know, do you have the update for us?
Chris, I thought you had one more rating for us.
Right.
Oh, I do have one more rating for you. Sorry, guys. Max watched the show with us, and he sent me his rating. Middle third, middle of the middle. No explanation.
So we have a
Explanation.
completely
I think
unanimous
that's
by
pretty
like 9
straightforward at this
people.
point.
I mean, we've all gone over it. It's you know, it's the most. It's like the theme's great, but it's produced so poorly that it's just in the middle.
Hey, I said top of the bottom, just to be clear.
Oh, you did.
Oh.
Oh, I thought
I-
you were okay. My bad.
I'm pretty sure you put it in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I meant to
Yeah.
say top of the bottom.
All right,
Pretty
well,
sure you put it in the middle.
Is
That's
it
It was-
bottom of the middle?
bottom of the middle and top of the bottom are not the same thing. What's
Top
what's
of the
your-
bottom.
Top of the bottom. Okay. Okay.
You're ruining the all
You
middle
did.
third.
You broke the unanimous.
That's why I was confused when you earlier said like I'm gonna be contrarian, not go middle. And I'm like, I thought I said that. Damn it, what did I do?
It's okay. The James rating
BJ's
scale
new to
is
give it a
the-
rating. It takes a little time to kind of get
It's
used to it.
Well, to be fair, Chris didn't explain the full details of the James rating system.
Chris just gave me some system.
Well, no, he gave you the
Oh,
base system that we
BJ's
have. But then there's a more
James rating
advanced
system's a little
system.
out there.
There's a double system within the system.
Well, it's just instead of 3 buckets, it's 9.
You got
It's
9
the same
buckets.
thing.
Yeah.
I
Some
wanted to
people
give
can handle
3.
it. Some people can't, and it's okay. VJ, we're gonna get you there.
I just don't
It's a
feel like
3.
I need to be that granular.
You
Oh
gotta
no,
be
but
it.
but VJ, James prefers to do it the other way. So you're giving it a 7 because 1 is the
7.
best and
Oh,
9 is the
okay.
worst. So
Got it. Okay. See this part. Okay.
You gotta earn that number 1 spot. They don't just give them away.
Oh, that's fair.
All right, Rob. I need the update.
I got the update for you. So we had to say goodbye to the astronaut. And
Oh
I-
no.
I'd previously said the astronaut, there were some signs it could be JGL, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but I didn't think it was actually Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Guest judge Gordon Ramsay, friend of the pod, threw out a wild Jonathan Taylor Thomas guess, which would have been just
Ooh.
insane. But he was
He's-
so confident, as Gordon Ramsay always is. So who is the astronaut? Hunter Hayes. Who's that? I don't know. Some country singer. Totally lame.
I thought JGL would be the Jason Taylor Thomas would be like the best like level of celebrity you get for this show.
Like that's the thing. Like Jonathan Taylor Thomas was both an insane guest and like perfect for The Masked Singer. So I was very intrigued by the possibilities the Gordon Ramsay was sending our way, and then I was like, who's this? I had to Google who it was. I didn't even know who it was. So Astronaut was a big letdown. I also got to give a quick update. So last week I threw out the frog is Jaleel White, aka Urkel theory, and I gotta say, Robin Thicke made a compelling case that it's the artist formerly known as Lil Bow Wow. So I'm sticking to my guns, but I'm wavering a little bit because there's a solid Lil Bow Wow theory.
You mean Bow Wow, right? The Lil's gone at this point.
He'll always be Lil Bow Wow to me. That's what Robin Thicke called him. So.
So on the other front, I've got our Top Chef Fantasy League. Watching Harrison score, it is still 4.
Still at 4? Damn. Huh.
So we got Noah in the lead now with 25.
Whoa.
Followed by Max with 23. Brian's got 20. I've got 15. Annabeth's got 13.5. Who did I miss? James has 8.
Not
and
last.
Harrison has. So I do think that this fantasy league really needs more engagement, not just like right after you pick the people. It's just not as good.
I'll be
That-
honest.
yeah,
I haven't
dude.
watched any more of the show, and it's hard to even try to consider getting back into it at this point.
I mean, I've been watching it and I still don't really care.
Right? It's just like the fantasy I thought would make me want to watch the show. Now I'm just like, whatever. No chance.
Yeah, my liking of the show keeps going down the more I watch, to be honest.
I guess it's
my
'cause,
two
like,
people have
yeah.
not won anything. They're
Yeah.
they're so bad.
Well, the problem with this
What's your
fantasy thing
favorite?
is it's all draft and nothing else, right? Like, there's just nothing else to do or even pay attention to. Like, all you can do is watch how good you're drafted or how terrible you did, as some might have.
Yeah. I kind of like Harrison has 4 points, though. He's just out.
I mean, I think that I'm the first one out, and I think I'm the one who's most seriously watching this show because I actually like Top Chef. So,
I mean, I'm watching it. I'm on board.
I like
Next
those.
week is restaurant week or whatever. So like,
Next week, Restaurant Wars. Next week, big week.
yeah,
get it?
I don't know what that is, but
Basically, once a season, they split all the chef testants up into 2 teams, and they each have to open chef testants, and they each have to open their own restaurant and like run it successfully for like a service. But it's like
isn't
they like
this just that Gordon Ramsay show like every week though?
it's kind of a different situation when they're having to open this whole restaurant. It's like they're like picking the whole, they're like running the whole front of house, they're training the servers, they're decorating the thing, they're doing the
No, I'm sure it's a little more intense.
pretty good.
Big
Uh,
week.
Big
Although Harrison will still score 0 points next week.
This is
Just-
true.
Just that.
I'm not saying it's a
putting
big
that out
week for me. I'm just saying it's a big week.
Big week for this show. Anyone else got any updates they want to go through?
I got a quick update to follow up on last week's Queeby episode. So I ended up not watching really anything else from the episodes we watched. I was going to watch the Lil Nas X Punk'd, and then Harrison told me it was terrible. I didn't watch it.
It was awful.
But I'm going to make a recommendation for if you do want to watch a Queeby reality show, Elba versus Block is better than all the ones we watched last week.
Yeah, my bad. I definitely should have included that one on our
Yeah.
list.
So I watched 6 episodes of Elba versus Block, and it's Idris Elba and I don't know who Block is, some NASCAR driver or something, and they're just doing weird like car competitions. And the fun of the show is Idris Elba, and I don't know if it seems genuine. He's a good actor, so maybe it's not, but like he's just so fired up. And like at one point he goes, "Yeah, in a movie they wouldn't let the actor do this. So I'm really excited that like I just get to do it." He's fired up to do these competitions, but he's clearly like just not as good a driver as this other guy, and he's trying to kind of like find ways to kind of cheat and stuff. But he's just so pumped, and then it's a good Quibi show because like they do some dumb stunt for like 4 minutes, and then it's over, and then it's like who won, and then you move on. So thumbs up for Elba versus Block.
There you
I
go.
definitely thought you were gonna say it's like Elba versus Block, and he's like there's some dumb funny show where he's like fighting a block, like a cement block.
No, Block is a person.
Some sort of NASCAR racer.
I watched about 5 more episodes of Thanks a Million after the pod last week. That show's pretty good. Haven't watched Quibi since then, but keep that chain of gratitude going.
You could start it, Harrison.
Yeah, Harrison, start your own chain of gratitude.
Yeah, I should. And then like somebody would be like, "This is a chain of gratitude started by Harrison Hoffman." And they'd be like, "Who in the world is that?" Just like they do when someone's like, "This is a chain of gratitude started by Aaron Rodgers" or whatever, and they're like, "Ah."
Oh, they didn't know who Aaron Rodgers was? Oh no.
Well, I mean, like the person who was like third and then for fourth in chain or whatever for Aaron Rodgers definitely had no idea what was happening.
Like somebody showed like how much money is the Harrison Hoffman gratitude starting with?
I mean, we got $10. You have to give 5 of it to somebody else.
Yeah. I do have a recommendation for everyone out there. Upload, new show on Amazon Prime. It's amazing. It's so good. I highly recommend it. It's kind of like this meta heaven show that's just set in the near future. That's just so on point, and it's really funny. Highly recommend.
Heaven show in the near future. I'm so confused what the show is.
Okay,
I
so
have
the
no
premise
idea.
of the show is this guy in the near future dies and gets uploaded to quote unquote like heaven. So he's in this like afterlife and he's dead.
He's
But
in the
like the
Matrix.
show is really about this near future, and like he has like a tech support person, and how they interact, and it just kind of
Westworld?
starts there and gets like more like there's more and more stuff involved.
Chris, is this Westworld?
Kind of. There's a lot of shows like this recently, like about free will and like The Good Place. It's we're all digging deep in our quarantine lives. Anyone else got anything they want to shout out before we end? I guess not. All right, well, you can find us on Twitter at whoputthison. You can find us on facebook.com/whoputthison. Email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.
How much peanut butter can you buy at Costco?
About 25.8 ounces.
What?
That doesn't sound big enough.
There's a
That
joke.
does not sound big enough.
No.
As someone that goes to Costco on the weekly, I felt like you're the right person to ask.
Remember that when Brian bought those nacho cheese things? The 2 giant nacho cheese things that he was trying to put on his head?
The 7-pound cans, yeah.
Yeah. Like the paint cans of nacho cheese.
I mean,
It
if you're
feels
trying to
like
run
paint
a
cans.
Mexican restaurant.